What's good everyone, it's Kajani with a guild guide for Final Fantasy XIV patch 6.3. In this video, I will go over some of the new ways that you can make guild that were introduced in this patch. This is going to include ways to make guild by running content, crafting, or gathering. Overall, this video is more about how to set yourself up to make consistent guild throughout the patch rather than a get rich quick guide. With that out of the way, let's get started. Let's start with how to make guild in patch 6.3 by running content. The easiest option is by taking your tomes of astronomy and exchanging them for crafting mats sold by Sihanti and Rodzit Han. The mats to consider selling are all the ones that are sold for 20 tomes of astronomy. All of these mats, excluding the Palaka mistletoe, are used to craft the new indicator, crafting, and gathering tools and gear set that were introduced in patch 6.3. Selling these mats should make you some consistent guild throughout the patch. For a really big payday, I suggest doing the new treasure map dungeon, the Shifting Gymnasium Aganon. To get to the new treasure map dungeon, you will need a time-worn Ophitora skin map, which can only be gathered from Elipis or purchased from the market board. Once you are in the Shifting Gymnasium Aganon, you will be farming for the turn-in items used to get the two new mounts that were introduced in this patch. To get the Phaethon mount, which is basically a fire version of the Ixion mount, you will need 3 burning horns. For the Pinky mount, and yes, this is what it looks like, you will need 3 exciting tonic. If you manage to get 3 of the respective items, you can turn them into Nezvaz and Rodzit Han for the mount. And if you don't care about the mount, you can sell the items as well on the market board. Either way, if you don't have any luck with getting the items to get the mount, or even the material to craft the new glamour, you'll end up making a lot of gil simply off of running maps. Now let's move on to making guild with your crafters in patch 6.3. A majority of the activity on the market board is being fueled by the introduction of the new indicator crafting and gathering gear and tools. You can make guild with your crafters by selling the intermediary materials used to craft the gear and the tools. This is going to include the mats that I've listed on the screen. Even with it being about 3 weeks into the patch, these intermediary materials sell rather frequently, which is a good thing. It's always good to sell items that won't sit in your inventory for very long. Another crafting item that should be a consistent seller throughout the patch is grip gel. Grip gel is a crafting material that is purchased with 500 white crafting scripts. And let's say you are going to craft a full set of crafting gear from head to toe, you're going to need 33 grip gel to do so. If I do my math correctly, that's gonna run you 16,500 white scripts. Yeah, that's a lot of collectibles. So if you're ever capped on white scripts and have no idea what to spend them on, grip gel is a good start as well as a mutable solution. Moving on, crafting foods that increase perception is another way that you can make some guild with your crafters. It seems that the devs have really put an emphasis on having a high perception stat to gather at legendary nodes, so these foods will be in demand in some capacity from now up until the end of the expansion. For all my crafting endgame enjoyers, 6.3 introduced another set of expert recipes, this time used to craft the smaller water otter fountain outdoor furnishing. Your guild making opportunities are with the fountain itself as well as the parts for the fountain. Although this fountain doesn't benefit from the hype of island sanctuaries, it still presents a good guild making opportunity if you have the patience to deal with expert recipes. The smaller water otter fountain isn't the only way to make guild with furnishings. Overall, furnishings is a good way to make guild in patch 6.3 as well as any patch going forward. This is because the developers introduced several new housing wards as well as restarted the demolition timer on houses. These two factors present an opportunity to make guild by selling furnishings as well as common crafting mats to craft furniture. There are a lot of options when it comes to selling furniture. They range from popular items like leather couches, new and interesting items like the water partition, or anything that is a pain to craft yourself like an aquarium. If you don't want to craft but still want to sell some furnishings, well, you can use your bicolor gemstones to purchase furnishings from the various gemstone vendors located throughout Shadowbringers. To make gil with your gathering classes, a simple place to start are the crafting materials that can be gathered from legendary nodes that are used to craft the indicator gear and tools. Earthbreak Aether Sand is another good option to make consistent gil, as it is used in the crafting mats for this expansion, and it should also be used in the recipes that will be released in patch 6.4. To make gil with your fisher, you can try to farm pure aqueous glyoaether. It is a crafting material that is used to craft a part for the smaller water otter fountain and obtained by using ethereal reduction on a Phyllinos. To give yourself the best chance of getting glyoaether, I recommend having a fully melded set of indicator gathering gear, mainly because the drop rates are pretty low. However, the Phyllinos is up every hour and the window is open for 8 minutes. So if you ever have 8 minutes to spare, you might as well shoot your shot and try to get a glyoaether or two. Information on catching the Phyllinos is in the description of the video. If you want an easier fish to catch and something that will bring you in consistent gil, I recommend fishing for the Thavnarian calamari as well as the Jinga. Both of these fish are used to craft endgame crafting and gathering food and should be in demand for the rest of the expansion. So that's all I have for this guide on how to make gil in patch 6.3. I will catch y'all in the next video. Until next time, peace.